What's up, guys? My name is Kyle, and in this video, I'm going to be showing you guys the exact process I follow to save thousands of dollars a month on finding emails. And I do it completely with AI with my API key. Now, I do still have the waterfall, but it's at the very end of the process for the emails that we can't find. Now, if you guys haven't tried finding emails before with, these tools like Prospeo or Lead Magic or some other tools out there, it could add up very quick. For example, if I use my own API key with Lead Magic, I only could find 10,000 emails a month for $100. And that doesn't even include validation of those emails. That just means finding them. They might not even be the right email or work anymore. So, as you can see, if you're trying to send, thousands and thousands of thousands, if not 100,000 plus emails a month, this could add up very quickly. And especially if you're an agency and you have a lot of clients and stuff like that, right? Now, if you don't use an API key and you use the credits inside Clay, you get about 10,000 credits a month for $340, right? So, if we pull up the waterfall down here really quick and we look at how much it cost to find an email. So find email, the waterfall. So find work email. As you see, you kind of map this out, right? But if we go to full configuration, it's going to cost around 1 credit to 2 credits per contact, which means if you have 10,000 credits a month, you only could really find about 5 to 6,000 emails a month with all those credits. And that doesn't even include the validation of those emails. So as you can see, the Clay credits really don't go too far. So what I am going to show you guys today is how to get at least 40,000, 50,000 emails basically found a month just off your Clay credits, or even honestly without any Clay credits. So we're going to start off in the beginning of the process here. So this data is all from Clay. So Clay gives you free data, but they don't give you a lot of data because they want you to enrich it with their Clay credits and spend more money, right? So you get the company name, you get the first name, you get the full name, you get the company domain, you get the LinkedIn profile, and I believe you also get the job title, but I hid that row. Now, you don't have their email. So if you guys have found emails before with email finding tools, you guys will notice a lot of trends. For example, a lot of emails in business are first name at domain.com. So for example, Kyle at Nike.com, or last name at Nike.com, like Dixon at Nike.com, or it's first and last name at domain.com. So we could use AI to create all these common patterns and just validate them. So for example, in Lead Magic, 1 credit could validate 20 emails, but 1 credit can only find 1 email. So your credits could go a lot further just validating emails than you having to find all those emails. So we use AI to do a lot of the initial upfront work to create all these patterns, and then we validate all those patterns. But before we do that, we need to clean the first name and the last name. So for example, over here, as you can see, the first name is Jason M. Now, the M is not part of the first name, so we don't want that included into our formulas and our AI formulas that we will do to create these patterns. So the first step we need to do is we need to clean the first name. So we take Jason M, we turn to Jason. We take Mohammed, pardon me if I can't say that name right, and we'll just do, Hamdan. I don't know how to say it. I'm so sorry, guys. Or Juan Manuel, right? And we'll just put Juan. So we'll basically clean all the first names, so it's just the first name, and we'll also do the same with the last name here. So essentially what we do is we go into here, I use AI to create this prompt, but basically what it says is your context is you need to clean a provider first name string so that it returns only the correct first name, properly capitalized, removing initials, extra words, and stray quotes or punctuation. So objective, return only the clean first name from the input string in first name. Okay. And then these are all the instructions. You guys could read through this. I'm not going to read it word for word. You guys would be very bored and it'd take a long time. So that's the first name. That's what we do. Okay. And then we do the same thing for the last name, right? So if there's for example, in here, in the full name, you can see that there's CPA, there's all these other stuff, or there's fully capitalized last names, right? That's not clean. We don't want all that. We just want the last name. So what we'll do is your AI that extracts and cleans the last name from a provided full name string. Objective, return only the clean last name based on the provided full name input. And then these are all the rules, right? Like removing company names out of there, suffixes and stuff like that. Properly capitalized, right? We want to clean the last names. So after that, we clean the first name and we clean the last name. Okay. And now we'll merge them together for a clean full name. Okay. So after we do that, now we create the email patterns that we typically see. So in here, I used AI to create this prompt, right? Down here, generate prompt. I told it kind of what I wanted, and then it did all this for me. So context, you're generating likely business email addresses based on a person's first and last name and a company domain. Return a comma separated list of all the common patterns using the provided inputs. Okay, so generate a comma separated list of common business email patterns using the first name, the last name, and a domain. So instructions, here's the first name, here's the last name, here's the company domain. So normalize all names for patterns as follows. Lowercase all letters, these are all the instructions, right? Now we want to generate a list with these patterns. So first at domain, so for example, Kyle@vroommarketing.com, Kyle.lastname@vroommarketing.com, so Kyle.Dixon@vroommarketing.com, first and last name without the dot, so Kyle Dixon@vroommarketing.com, and then first initial and last name at domain.com. Now you could also do more combinations, right? But I've tested this. A lot of the emails are these, and I don't want to waste a lot of validation credits on, doing 10 different pattern tests. Because at that point, there's a win-loss. There's there's wasting credits, and then there's a balance, right? Until it becomes me actually wasting validation credits when I could just be finding the email with those credits. Okay, now these are kind of the rest of the instructions. So what it's going to do is it's going to output the list. So if we look here at, for example, the emails. So produces all these emails. I need to rerun this. That's why there used to be 8. Now there's only 4. But it'll input all these. And then what we'll do is we'll create a column. So for each email, we'll create a column. So for 0, that's right here. And we do that for each one. As you can see, all the way down here, 1, 2, 3. Now, do one at a time. So do 0, and then what I do is I have an API key with Lead Magic where I can get 20 validations for 1 credit. Okay, so I'll go here. I'll add enrichment. I'll put validate email, and then I will validate the email. I'll press on this one, and then I'll hook up my API key. So what I'll do is I'll validate it, right? And then it'll let me know if it's invalid or if it's valid. And then what I use is I go for the next one. I'll do the same thing for this email. But if it's valid here, it won't run here. Okay. And as you can see, it's in this one, if it's valid in the second email pattern, it won't run in the third one. And how this works is I use run if logic. Okay. So this is kind of the logic. I didn't create this. I use the prompt and then it creates these formulas for me. But essentially what this is saying is if, email 1 is valid, do not run it again. Don't waste my validation credits. Okay. And then for the next one, if email 1 or email 2 is valid, don't run it. Okay. And we'll keep working our way down through all the email patterns. And as you can see here, when we get to the end, we'll just keep repeating this process. You'll see how it's not running here. So for this one, don't run if 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 has validation, right? Because if we found the email, we don't want to keep validating a wrong email when we already found it. Let me know if that makes sense. If that doesn't make sense, just drop it down in the comments. And we'll keep doing it all the way through for all the patterns. So I have about, I think 7 or 8 patterns. Now, the next step of this process is for the ones that we couldn't validate, right? We couldn't find an email for them. Now we'll use the find work email. Now, instead of using our credits, I'll use my API key because I get a little bit of a better return. So I'll do the find work email waterfall. So the way how you find this is you go here, add row, find email, find work email. If you want to find personal, do personal, but if you want to find work, do work. And then you map it. So you're going to map up your full name column with full name, company domain with company domain. You map all that. And then you set run if settings. So I have logic in here, as you can see. We'll exit out of this. If I go here, there's all these settings, right? So I don't need to go through all of them. I could just go based off row 7 because all the conditions pass over into the last one. So I could just say if validate email row has invalid email, then try to find the email. Okay, let me know if that makes sense. Because if it doesn't have invalid email, that means it's already been ran. We already found that email. So if validate email column contains invalid email, then run. So that's how these are only running based off certain conditions here. So we'll try to find an email with lead magic, then it'll validate it. We'll try to find email with ICPs, then it'll validate it. And then it'll just keep going down, find email. And then we'll get to the very end of the process until our waterfall process outputs the emails that it found and validated. Now, lastly, we'll merge them into one column. So these are all the emails that we found and validated based off the waterfall and through our AI pattern recognition. But as you can see, we found 3 emails in this waterfall, but we were able to find, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. We were able to find over half the emails with AI and not with our credits or having to spend all this, over budget and, lead magic or Prospeo trying to find these emails. We used AI to create the patterns and then validate them without having to spend a bunch of credits on finding the emails. So we found 8 out of the 10. And once this whole process works, make sure you don't, when you test this thing out, you aren't running it for all the rows in there. I mean, all the columns, all the rows. So test it out. Let me know if you guys have any questions on this. And if this video gets 100 likes, I will share this exact template with you guys. Or if you guys follow me on LinkedIn and Instagram, and then send me a DM, and you subscribe on YouTube, I will send you guys this template for free. Just follow me at Kyle L. Dixon on Instagram or Kyle Dixon on LinkedIn, and make sure to subscribe. And if you guys do all those, just DM me and I'll send you this for free. And then also lastly, once you're done with all this, you basically use 64 columns up. So you're gonna need to export all these names and stuff like that to a different table because you're basically out of space. So last step after you do all of this is send to table. So we're gonna have to send all this data to a new table. Not all this stuff, just the final email, and you'll see what I mean. So we'll send to a different table. So you could create a new table. So just go down here and press add. So create new table, and then select that table up here. And then the only things that we want to transfer is we want to get rid of first and full name because those aren't clean. We'll keep clean first name. We'll keep clean last name and clean full name. And then we'll get rid of all of these. Okay. We'll get rid of all of these. Okay, so we'll just keep tapping this. Okay. So now what we're going to have now is we're going to export the data that matters. So what we're going to do is we're going to export all the company names, all the company domains, the LinkedIn profiles, the first, last name, and full name, and the valid email source to a new table that's nice and fresh. We're only going to be using 7 columns instead of having 64 already used up. So it's going to look all nice and clean. So that's basically the process. But what you want to do is make sure you use run if only logic. So how this works is, I'll show you guys. So we only want to send over the data where we have emails. We don't want to send over data to a new table and we don't have their email. So what we do to prevent that is we use AI. Only send the data to the new table if, we'll scroll way down, if, oh, here it is. If valid email source is not empty. So we're only going to send the data to the new table if the valid email source is not empty. We'll generate the formula. Yes. And now what you're going to do is we're missing the input, missing is the table. So you're going to save, and then you're going to test that for 10 rows and make sure only the rows that have emails are actually being sent. And it'll tell you right here. So, but that's it for now. If you guys like this video, let me know if you guys have any other questions or comments down below, and I can make more videos on those. And if you guys are looking for an agency to work with, we do pay per lead. So you guys only pay us when we get you leads, and we cover all the expenses. So if that's something that you guys are interested in, and you're a B2B business and you're selling high ticket offers, click the link below. But that's it for now. Hope you guys have a good day.